So, Apple recently announced that it's creating a Mac OS X App Store, which people can log into and purchase software and have it downloaded straight to the computers. It's then instantly installed, and everything's easy. You just buy the program, and hey, now it's on your computer. It's a lot like the Steam store, if you're a gamer and you've ever messed with that. Same concept, but for Mac software. And I've heard some people comparing this store to Linux software repositories. And while there's a lot of technical similarities, in spirit they're actually quite different. It's a fallacy to compare them. First and most obviously, the App Store is designed for commercial gain, whereas the repositories are completely free offerings. This means the developers and the people running and gathering the software for each of these entities have different goals in mind. The Apple developers and the organizers of the App Store want things that will get them money and what's best for either the developers or Apple. But the spirit of a repository is much different. The goal is often to either gather a bunch of software for a specific purpose, or gather all the software you would ever want or need for a particular platform for free. So ultimately what you're going to find is a difference in the qualities and aspects of the software. The Apple, for instance, the App Store, Apple will reject apps that duplicate functionality of something they already offer. So in that sense, the App Store could very much become kind of Apple's way of weeding out their competition. And repositories, however, they're fine with duplicating functionality as long as a committee, instead of a group of people reviewers at Apple, decides that this is software they actually want to have in the repository and would benefit the users in it, whether it duplicates functionality or not. And finally, you've got a difference in semantics of software versus apps. The software tends to imply something complete, something you download onto your computer. It's going to serve a purpose. It's going to do that very well, and you're going to work with it. Whereas an app is, you just generally think of it as something you're going to download and maybe spend 5-10 minutes with, or have it running in the background. Now, I think what's going to happen is that a lot of software on the Mac's App Store is going to wind up being this software. It's not going to be apps, because that's not what you get on a computer for. And I think that it's going to be established very quickly, and if not, then it's going to be a huge problem for the App Store. But again, it's a matter of spirit that you have to you have to wonder, do you want a nice software package, or do you want just an app? And I think while desktop apps are very popular these days, like TweetDeck and things like that, I'm not entirely convinced that things that aren't just like plugins to other things, like Firefox plugins, you could consider those apps. But ultimately, I don't think people would pay very often for a Firefox extension unless it was immensely useful or extremely cheap. So maybe there is a market in this, but we'll just have to wait and see. That kind of went off on a tangent there, but it's still an important consideration, to see whether or not this will take the same direction as a software repository, which has the goal of software in mind. There's not really so much of the little quick hit utilities, versus the App Store, which very well could become that. We'll see.